Roundabout cast episode. Tyler knows these better than I do now. Is it 46?
44?
45?
No way, it's 44. It's gotta be at least 45.
Nope.
Damn.
I'm def going with 44.
Regardless of what it is.
If
No,
40
it's
44
It's
now.
45. It's 45.
If 44 already exists, we gotta erase it. We're purging that one from that was a good one too. What a shame.
Yeah.
Hey, what have y'all been up to lately?
Boy, you know what I've been doing. I've been
We've
playing
been doing
Genshin Impact
one
every day.
thing.
I've been doing
Yeah.
one thing for the
Making it
past 10 days.
Making me a disappointed father.
We'll talk about that one thing as a proper topic.
Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
give me something here. What have you been up to?
I have been doing a lot of Warhammer stuff. The new Space Marine Codex drop, which is essentially it's basically like a rework for a Hero in League, essentially. It's kind of like that level of stuff. So like they bring out a bunch of new skins or like models and like it's big old purchasing spree. So I've been doing that. I got this big thick old book now that's
Damn.
huge.
Yeah, so that's the one you got a few days ago, right?
Yeah, this one I got a few days ago. It's $50. It's 208 pages for rules. So yeah, that's what I've been primarily doing. Other than that, game-wise, I think we're going to be talking about everything I've been playing. Show-wise, I watched Troy for the first time
Troy.
The movie?
ever. The movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and Orlando Bloom. And that movie is like charmingly bad good. It's really hard to describe because it has this like early 2000s, late 1990s like cheesiness to it with some like weird like Homer Shakespearean like dialogue and like this costumes and settings.
Is the word you're looking for camp?
Yeah, probably it's very campy. But I kind of it's a 3-hour movie that I watched in like 1-hour chunks while I painted, and I was like, this is just kind of fun. I really liked it. I kind of enjoyed it. And that's my review of it.
Nice.
Mhm.
Since we never talk about it, I'm still reading Black Clover and Dr. Stone. I have no idea what's happening in Dr. Stone right now. There's like,
Yeah, same. I need to reread the last like 3 or 4 chapters.
it's like really confusing.
Really?
Isn't Dr. Stone on like 180 or 190 or something?
It's like 187 now, I believe.
Damn.
I have to read. I'm sure it's not that hard confusing. It's just I don't know why characters are going to certain places now. I forget entirely what the original structure of this arc was. Like I thought we were doing corn, but apparently that's not it anymore. We're
No,
changing
no,
direction.
it is. It
No,
still
we're going
is.
to South America.
Yeah, but
But what?
anyway, it's about corn.
So Senku's like, we have to invent corn to defeat the primates.
No.
No, they need to get
No.
corn to maintain a population, essentially.
Yeah.
Apparently, the main antagonist is Senku's like old like.
No, shut up,
Teacher.
dude, come on. I read Dr. Stone.
Yeah, but
You
you take
know
like
I do.
forever.
Yeah, but next time I caught up, we would have a talk about it. That's how
I
we
didn't
do
realize
it.
you were over 30 chapters behind. I'm sorry.
In
I-
addition, to fill the hole in my heart that Act Days has been ripped out of.
Oh my god, life was alright for a
Dude,
little
that's
bit
so
until you
sad.
reminded me.
Yeah, I've been reading Chainsaw Man continuously.
Okay,
Sad.
we gotta talk about Chainsaw Man soon because that is quality.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like a weird, like, there are chapters in that series I'm like, holy fucking shit. This manga is like chef kiss, all about relationships and emotions and everything. And then there's just some weird dumb bullshit in the next chapter. You're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah,
But-
it can fluctuate from really immature to really mature. So in that
Yeah.
way, it's Bradley as a manga.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But I highly endorse Chainsaw Man for the two of you. I think you both would really enjoy it.
Tyler would fucking get into
Yeah,
that
Tyler.
shit.
Tyler, you would love it.
I'll read it.
Yeah, 100% you would love it.
It's spooky season, so
It
I
is
want
spooky season.
Yeah.
It is spooky
Dude.
season, and work sent me a pumpkin to carve.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Chainsaw Man, hot new Halloween costume for the year.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You have to use a real chainsaw though.
Three chainsaws.
Everyone would just dress up as Power because it's the easiest costume.
Yeah.
I watched
Makima.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery for spooky season.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I
Yeah.
fucking hated it. I was like, this movie was bad.
We had a big talk about Pet Sematary in an earlier podcast.
Yeah, and in the movie, didn't they change it so the child who dies is the daughter instead of the?
I have no context of the book, but you remember in middle school when you had those books under your desks in English class or literature or whatever you were in, and you read passages from it. I'm like, this is just the monkey's paw. That's all this is, and I'm pretty sure the monkey's paw came after Stephen King's novel and whatever. But I'm just like,
I think it's the opposite.
I think it's good.
Yeah,
but I really didn't like the premise. I was just like, I hate this movie.
To be fair, the thing about that what makes Pet Sematary so good is less about the actual horror aspect of that, but the existential dread about death.
Yeah, because very little of Pet Sematary, at least
spooky.
the book anyway. I didn't watch the movie, but very little of the book is spooky, and there's very little actual supernatural stuff going on. There's
the one thing at the very end.
There's the one thing at the very end that's supernatural, and then I guess also the cat coming back. But
what happens at the very end in the book?
At the very end, so spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
I'm not gonna read it. I didn't like. Yeah,
just for the listeners, Tyler.
Yeah, someone might want to read that.
So at the end of Pet Sematary, so in the book, the young child, the 1 or 2 year old kid gets run over by a Mack truck. He buries him. Kid comes back alive and starts killing everybody he's ever interacted with.
Yeah, he turns into a monster demon baby, and it's fucking stupid.
Okay, but it was a lesson the whole time, right?
The lesson is involved. The lesson is mentioned that it's the thing that brings him back. But then at the end of the book, the dad kills the son, and the thing that kind of makes it really creepy at the end is that he takes his dead wife that the son just killed and buries her, and that ends the movie.
It's cool that there's a monster hunter monster in that. That's pretty cool.
But the thing that makes Pet Sematary great is the existential dread and consequences, and think about is it really worth bringing someone back if they're not going to be 100% the person they were?
So here's my point in this movie / book. It's all the mom's fault.
That's not true in the book.
That must be a movie thing.
Because,
in the book, it's kind of nobody's fault.
It could be a Tyler hot take. Let's hear him out.
This is my hot take. This entire concept is the mom's fault, all right?
Okay.
So
she had the baby. It's her fault.
No. In the movie, she kills her sister.
Yes.
Because she uses the dumbwaiter when she's not supposed to. And her sister falls down the dumbwaiter.
Oh, that's not in the book at all.
Okay, so in this movie, she kills the sister because she's supposed to be taking care of her, and she does something lazily instead of taking care of her sister, and then the sister ends up dying.
Yeah.
So now this mom has this fear of death and never wants to confront it the whole time because she has PTSD from her sister, which is normal. But hey, go to therapy. Talk to your husband who you have kids with about this.
No, wait,
and actually communicate about your issues.
No story would exist if people went to therapy. That's not how that works.
It's much more poignant in the book because in the book she just mentions that her sister was just sick all the time, had this terrible disease, and was just an asshole about it, essentially. And her big guilt was that the entire time she was sick, she just wanted the sister to die because A, it would put the sister out of the misery, and B, it would put her out of the misery of taking care of the sister. So it's this weird conflict of maybe things are better when they end,
The iconic line of Pet Sematary is sometimes dead is better.
Yep. Yeah. And so in the movie, the mom is like, no, we can't tell the daughter that that the cat died. Mm-hmm. And because they changed up the kid who dies in the movie, the new one, the daughter dies, and she's 9 years old. And she runs out into the middle of the road because the cat's in the middle of the road. And she's like, oh, look, Church came home. And the only reason Church came home is because the mom didn't want to tell the daughter that the cat died. So the dad buried the cat in the weird cemetery. And then it comes back. And Judd feels bad now. And gosh, the actor who plays Judd, John Lithgow, is a great actor. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Please refer to our Pet Cemetery
Joe and I did a
shortcut because it was a really good talk. Apparently, I think I zoned out
Joe
or
and I
stepped
did a
away.
Club on it, and
we did too, actually.
Yeah, it was too.
Willer, what have you been up to?
So the company where I work the games was released recently, so I've been busy with bug fixing.
You want to plug that shit or not?
Plug it.
Yeah, actually, give me your money. Download Atlas Empires. I am a shareholder, so for now it is directly. Download Atlas Empires. It's a fun cross between Pokemon Go and Clash of Clans, and you might enjoy it. Also,
it has a really novel system where it partners with like restaurants and stuff around you, right?
Yeah, we have a patent technology where we can use like Visa's credit card to actually validate sales. So we partnered with a bunch of restaurants like Popeyes and Burger King and a bunch of other Austin locations. So Jimmy John's. You can go there and you eat food, and then you get runes for eating there if you accept the event. Runes
like I thought that was the coolest
person.
shit because a lot of times in mobile games, you know, obviously you would just give the money to the mobile game directly for whatever like rewards are in the game. But I thought this was cool when you were describing it to me because it's like, oh, you get rewards for like shopping or eating at the places you would be shopping or eating at anyway.
It's really cool. I'd love to talk more about it, but we're scraping into NDA territory.
And we're also not sponsored by them, so anything else.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Willer is sponsored by them.
In a way,
but we're not.
Everything else I've been really doing, though, will be talked about on the podcast. I will review a sandwich I had today. It was the pastrami sandwich at I don't know. It's some Jewish deli in Austin. It's really fucking good. All right.
Do we have Among Us on our schedule for today?
Hey, we should talk about Among Us. No,
I think we've talked about
Everyone
it.
knows. Here's what we have to say about Among Us. It's really fun. We play it with our friends. We play until people start getting salty, so it's like about an hour and a half of playtime, and then people go play.
That's still like 10 games. Yeah. That's still a lot.
It's really fun. If the problem is you need to get a party of at least like 7 to have fun playing Among Us, which is real hard sometimes. But Tyler,
for us.
Tyler has blessed us with a pool of ready people by creating a Discord server for all of our friends to hang out in.
And I only had to mute 2 of them.
Jeez, Joe, just bring your personal shit into the podcast. Why don't you? Hey,
I mean, it is free talk.
It is free talk. Free talk is over. We're talking about The Great Pretender. I don't know what this is, Tyler.
Fuck yes. Okay, so Great Pretender. It's in the ring for probably my favorite anime that's come out in 2020.
Ooh. Oh, it's the anime.
This show is a Netflix original anime. And
Netflix has been pumping out these originals.
It's done in 3 parts, which I think is a lot of fun. Because it follows this kid, and he's from Japan, and like he's a scam artist. And so what he does is he has this other guy that he's like pulling this like door-to-door salesman job like con with, and he's got this history of like his dad being like this child trafficker or something, so like runs in the family. So he wanted to make a good representation for himself, but he got hired at a scam company, a company that was scamming people. So then he's just like, oh, I'm good at it, so I'll just keep doing it, you know. But anyway, he gets scanned by this American Frenchman dude, and so he ends up on like this plane to America with him, and so they go to con. Like, they're basically modern day Robin Hood who scam like mafia drug lords, fixed sportsmanship, like underground restaurants or some other crap, and like they steal all their money and then give them back to people they've screwed over.
Okay.
And basically I like the it's a heist anime. It's all about heisting shit, and it's great. It's wacky. The art style is amazing. It is on some like Mob Psycho 100 meets Cowboy Bebop shit.
I need to see what it actually looks like. I haven't actually looked at it.
Whoa, Tyler, this is by Studio Wit, the people who do Attack on Titan.
No, it is amazing.
So you know it's got to be animated well.
So I woke up early this morning, and before I went to work, I spray painted some dudes. I was like, I'm gonna just drink my tea. I'm gonna watch the first episode of the show, which was like 30 minutes, and I really, really liked it a lot. They have a really good bit at the beginning of the show. I watched the English dub, but like the beginning of the show is entirely the Japanese like voiceover until a certain section, because in that moment they stop like doing basically the guy from America comes to Japan and is speaking English. They're speaking broken English to each other.
They have anime English.
Yeah.
Like in Kuroko no Basuke.
Oh no, Kuroko English is so bad.
It is, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, but then like I really like just got on top of the show, or like I really like was just like hooked on the show immediately. I was like, oh, perfect. This is I'm going to 100% watch this. I'm gonna add it to my list. I have Cobra Kai I need to get through first, but this is next.
The voice acting is great.
It's
fantastic. The blonde guy looks cool.
The blonde guy is voiced by Colonel Mustang.
Nice.
Yeah. Travis Willingham.
Yeah. And so the art's great, the voice acting's great, and the soundtrack is amazing. Like they have some great just segues in this show where there's like these like it's got rap, it's got rock and roll, it's got like this opera credit ending sequence. The intro is like swing. It's a lot of fun. And I think the entire joke like that Rick and Morty does is that heist movies suck because of how insane they are fits really well in an anime setting because anime is wacky, it's stupid.
The insanity of heist movies is the best part.
I've seen one of these characters. I've seen the girl with the short hair, the tan girl.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this is what she's from.
Wait, you've seen like with the drug and the tongue in her mouth?
No, but I've just seen the character.
That's a fun scene.
Yeah. I would recommend watching it. I was like on the fence about it, and then I saw Critical did a moist meter on it, and I was like, you know what? He actually does review some decent stuff. Didn't watch the review, so I just started watching it. I think this is going to be my favorite anime of 2020.
Critical, as immature as he can be, is a pretty decent reviewer at times. I will say.
Yeah, I'm with Tyler. Like I saw this on Netflix like every single fucking day. And I was like, I don't know if this appeals to me a lot. I think the title is an okay title, but like that first episode really sold me on the characters, like all about who they were.
Yeah, so it's done in 3 parts too, which it has 3 separate heists in it.
Mm-hmm.
Each heist is actually about as long as a movie. It's like 5 to 6 episodes. And I didn't think that, like, I was like, okay, well, how are they going to tie in the first heist with the second heist? But it's tied in so well that they kind of just keep screwing this kid over. And it's great. The blonde guy consistently keeps screwing him over and, like, bringing him back in to, like, do heists without him realizing it. And it's hilarious.
Man. There's a lot of stories like that are very frustrating. Like Kaiji, like just getting roped back into bad scenarios.
Oh boy, here I go gambling again.
Oh boy, here I go ruining lives. And my lives means my life.
Yeah, that's it. It's great. Man, Dorohedoro and Great Pretender in this 1 year got Attack on Titan season 4 has its competition.
Dorohedoro was real good.
Isn't Attack on Titan season 4 going to have different animators?
Yeah, it's Studio Mappa as opposed to Studio Ghibli.
Sad.
They did Yuri on Ice, which has great reception.
Yeah.
Yuri.
Yeah, that Yuri. Wait, no.
Yes.
No, it's
Yuri isn't gay.
It's Yaoi on Ice if you want to be specific.
Yaoi. So, you know, like
Yuri
good
Lowenthal.
expectations, but yeah.
Joe, this show's about drugs, so you popped the pill. You gotta watch Breaking Bad now. Whoops! They even mentioned Walter White in the show. Tyler
They do.
That's gonna cost a lot of blood.
The kid says
All-Star Superman for Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
One of those is extremely short compared to the other, but that's fine.
One of these days I'll finish Breaking Bad.
It's too late for you.
Yeah, you will.
It's too late for you.
What do we want to do next?
I don't know.
Joe, let's talk about Hades, the video game.
Yeah!
Spoiler free.
Yo, Hades is real good.
It's
really
good.
I didn't know it was on Switch until Joe said it, and I'm like, great. This is a game that I will absolutely play on my Switch.
Yeah, it's great on the Switch, by the way. Which I should have thought about before I bought it, because even indie games can be kind of a toss-up on the Switch, but this one I've run
Yeah.
into no problems. It's real good.
I was looking at the game and I was like, this is an action roguelike. This is an action roguelike game that takes place in like a Greek kind of setting. You play as the son of Hades Zagreus.
Is this a real dude? Was this a real mythology dude?
I don't think
Okay.
this is a dude.
He's new, right? To the canon. He's
Oh, he's new and he's hunky.
Yeah,
oh
he
yeah.
is
I mean,
hunky.
everyone's hunky. This game is so horny.
Yeah, but like you basically the goal is you are the son of Hades and you're kind of trapped in Hades itself, like hell essentially, and your goal is to climb your way out of hell and get yourself to Mount Olympus where the gods are trying to get you there.
They're
Along
trying
the
to
way,
they're trying to escort you out, and you can communicate with the gods, and they give you boons to help you out.
yeah. So the game has number one a very fantastic art style.
Yeah,
it's
which
very-
is Supermassive Games, I believe, is the company.
It's really
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
They do
It's got-
Transistor. They do Bastion. They did Pyre.
yeah.
Oh shit! It's the Bastion dudes.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It kind of reminds me of that.
So, like, the style is really cool because it has this very anime influenced style, but it does feel Greek in some portions and not overly anime as well.
Something about the shading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can be like, okay, this is a pretty anime boy, but he's shaded much differently that it gives this very unique feel.
Yeah.
And I really, really like it. And the character designs for all the guys and the characters that you meet are...
They put a lot of
man.
work. I think Dionysus is like maybe the standout. He looks so cool. He's just draped in grapes and he's drinking. Have you not seen
Dionysus, yes. He's
Yeah.
so cool. And also, the voice acting in this game is
Stellar.
Oh god, so good. Like the way that Dionysus talks to you, like he gets off this like party
Party
vibe,
vibe.
but
Yeah.
like cool uncle too. And same with like Poseidon, like is like this really like surfer kind of like god.
Poseidon's really fun. His stance is even like, bro,
Yeah.
like with a surfboard behind his back, but it's the trident.
Yeah, and then like
And
Zeus,
Zeus
is
just
very...
comes off as this big booming, like full of
Yeah.
himself guy, but he's nice, I guess.
But he's kind of like a very more optimistic Jinbei that he's always happy to see. He's like, oh, there you are.
yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the gameplay like?
The gameplay is isometric action. So
Yeah.
you're dashing around and you're shooting projectiles and slashing at enemies. And really what it comes down to is don't get overzealous. Because
Yeah.
when enemies start their attack animations, they won't stop for almost anything. So you really gotta not push your offense for too long and reposition. And it's all real time. It's not turn-based like Transistor.
It is a roguelike, right?
It is a roguelike.
Correct.
But it's,
Yeah.
I think this is the peak of what a roguelike should be.
Yeah.
Where the narrative is so well tied with the fact that it's a roguelike where you keep dying and respawning. And the fact that there's still story and the story is told through the characters that you meet. And you can optionally skip it all because you don't have to give nectar to the people to get like cutscenes with them and get there's relationship levels with every character.
Ooh,
Yeah.
even
I've been
with
holding
Aphrodite.
out.
You can date the
Like-
gods, I'm pretty sure in this.
I'm
Someone
dating
Yeah.
Aphrodite, bro.
yeah.
Aphrodite's just naked the entire time. It's great.
She's such a thoughtie.
Yeah, she's a
dude.
body.
I'm
But
all about Dusa.
What? So
God,
what
Zeus is
makes
so good.
it a? Is it like or light?
What's
It's
the
a light.
difference?
So light is where you have like more progression a little bit as it continues on.
It's that. It's that.
It's that. It's that one.
Like is so light. I would say is Rogue Legacy maybe.
And then
Okay.
light is like Spelunky.
If it's-
Spelunky or Binding of Isaac.
What I always heard is that if it's called a roguelike, that means it plays like the game Rogue, for which
Yeah.
the term was coined.
Yeah.
This is all muddy. What to get to the point of your question? You gain resources in the dungeon that you can spend either in a shop or to upgrade certain Zangrius' stats to unlock
That is
new
a
weapons.
light then
Yeah.
LITE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I love. I like it. I like that so much more. I
I-
think both are equally as fun.
I
Though.
think
Yeah.
this is really important that it is that because eventually you will get a victory through sheer force. And I think it's important because the narrative is pretty good, and the characters are really well written. So
Yeah,
you kind
you
of want to see what. You don't
you don't want
want
to be stuck in there forever, you know.
It's
And
not like
the thing is,
Spelunky where we're like trying to get ball tortured, and that's part of the fun. I kind of want to eventually beat this game.
Yeah.
I think another thing too about the story is that like the story does a really good job of establishing a character that you can relate with, which is it's a angsty teenager that wants to leave his fucking house. Like everyone's been there. We want to get out of home. I'm in there right now.
Y'all, I ain't gay, but what's the main character? Zagreus is really hunky.
He looks awesome.
Dude, look up Dionysus and like just tell me what you think.
But anyways, but so like you have a really good character motivation, but there's also this other layer of mystery where you're kind of like, why does Hades not want him to leave?
Yeah.
And why do gods really want him to? Because it seems kind of strange.
It's fishy.
Yeah.
And your mother's Nyx, and she's really protective, but your dad is Hades, and y'all have a really strained relationship. Not strange, strained. And you want to figure out what's going on there, so you're also like slowly piecing together like the history of your characters and maybe where he's going from here. You know, the gameplay is also like, ooh, it's so smooth and polished.
Tight.
It's like,
it's so good. Like thinking about it just makes me want to play it right now. But like it's like you dodge and like all the weapons are so unique, but every one of them doesn't feel like underpowered. Like each one feels good.
Yeah, I believe there's 5 weapons or 6 weapons in the game, and they have a different move set. And what you're getting through your run is passives and modifiers to your weapons and your cast attack. Like you have one magic spell and then your weapon move set, and that's kind of altering throughout the game. Really smart system they do to make sure you can't spam your magic attack is when you shoot a magic attack, you drop like an orb that you have to go pick back up to redo your magic attack.
It's almost like a spear.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Which is terrible to say because there's a spear weapon.
Yeah.
This character design is top tier. I must say, they did justice to these gods.
Yeah, they really took a lot of time to try to capture what the gods are. And also like other mythical figures, like Achilles is like just the nicest dude. He's so nice to you.
God, I am waiting for the day where you get up there and you get to fight Achilles. I just feel in my bones it's something you have to do. He's like the second. I feel like he's gonna be the second to last or last boss.
Do you want to know who the next boss you haven't fought is? Because I thought it was pretty
no,
cool.
I don't.
Oh,
no
let me tell
spoilers.
you.
Because another thing I don't really like too is going through and just kind of seeing what I know Thanatos is a boss because I followed someone on Twitter that's been playing the game and they were stuck on Thanatos for a long time, so I know that they're a boss.
I'm stuck on a boss before that. It's a tag team battle. It's very cool.
That's really cool. But also the bosses are really good in this game.
Meg is the first boss.
Yeah.
And she has a very good relationship with Angry. I really like their dynamic.
Yeah. I fucked on Meg real hard because I had the bow and I got the deflect on the Y or the special move.
Yeah.
So it's just like she does her little bullet hell thing. I'm like, well, okay, shotgun everything.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Yeah, not for me. It's great.
I think that's pretty good on Hades in general. I think. Mm-hmm. It's a game that everyone needs to try out. Like everyone.
Yeah.
If
like
I'm confident
I'm gonna get this at some point because I love a good roguelite. The only reason I'm not playing it right now is another game also recently.
I really wish it was on the PlayStation 4 because I really wanted to play on a PlayStation controller because I didn't want to play on any of the Switch controllers.
Oh, are you playing on Steam?
I'm playing on Steam because I wanted to play it with like an actual controller. There was something in me that's like I should play this on like a big controller.
I feel
I'm glad I did.
It feels good in a controller. I play with the Switch. With the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller, and they both feel good, and I'm sure it would feel good on the PS4 as well.
Yeah, PS4 feels great. So either or, I asked Willer earlier this week about it because I kind of skipped on the Steam one because I wanted to make sure that I played it like it was a good port. So that's why I skipped on the Switch version after like once I've eaten and it's like glitches. So I'm glad that it runs really well on Steam.
Mm-hmm. On Switch, you mean?
Yeah. Or Switch. I'm sorry. Yeah, it runs great on my computer. It's a real small game. But yeah,
if you like roguelikes, which is everyone except like one person I know, try this game out. It's real good, y'all.
Wait, who don't like roguelikes? We gotta kill them.
No.
We do have to kill them.
I agree with Willer. You should definitely try this out. And what's also good is this game has a story mode, so it makes it much easier if you just want to experience the story. You can, which I think is really cool.
Like
That
a
is
difficulty for story mode.
Yeah, you can press a
Nice.
button that says story mode. So I mean, I think that's really cool. We talked about before that like artistic intention and everything, and I think if you want to make your game hard and make it challenging, you have every right to. But I am always welcoming to an easier mode if you give it to me.
Especially if it's story based. Like this is not Spelunky. They're not trying to kill you with armadillos and mole guys every second.
God damn.
Did we even talk about Spelunky 2 on the podcast? Because if we didn't, it's just great.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it'll come up again in the Game of the Year discussions. It's all good.
Hell yeah.
So I'm ready. My bones are quaking for that discussion.
We're gonna do that like the first week of December because I'm just so excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure nothing will come out in those remaining weeks.
Yeah, like what other games are coming out this year?
Cyberpunk 2077, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, the new Ratchet and Clank.
Those are all before December, so like around that time.
Yeah, in December, I can't remember anything.
Tyler mad. All right.
Tyler mad. All right, we're going to move on.
We're going to take a quick break.
Yesterday. And so...
we didn't talk about that.
We did.
So, you know, the areas get harder each time you go to it.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we didn't know playing the game when we were little is in one level called Damon's Court, there's a wooden bridge you can blow up if you lure a bomb enemy onto it and kill it on the bridge. And if you blow up that bridge and go to another level the next year, the wood from the bridge is floated down and opened up an entire new wing at the level, which is fucking cool. But this new level, the boss is the zombie dragon. And even on the first cycle, when it's the easiest, we could barely beat it. But holy fucking shit. Basically, this boss, number one, the boss has a shield on it that regenerates every like 15 seconds. You have to cast Holy on the shield to get rid of it. So you have to spell Fusion Holy to get rid of the shield. And then, you know, you can attack the boss. The other problem is it constantly has this like poison aura that'll poison you. So someone has to have clear to get rid of the poison. But it'll also cast a petrification beam on whoever's doing like the white magic on your team. If that wasn't hard enough, all the bosses summon little henchmen enemies. On cycle 3, this guy summons stone enemies who are completely immune to magic.
Ooh.
And they have a shitload of health. But the only magic they're vulnerable to is gravity. So you can cast gravity to take out half their health. And they have a shitload of health, so you got to do that. The other thing is, there's a very limited area you can walk on. It's these 3 little wooden platforms. And if more than 2 players are standing on one wooden platform, it sinks into the poison water and continually damages you. We were like, just the fight itself was like 15 minutes. It was fucking, I was just casting Life and Cure repeatedly.
I recorded all that because I felt like it was going to go somewhere, and it did. That was Crystal Chronicles, by the way. This I recorded right after Bradley said it.
I was going to talk about this fight I did last night while we weren't recording, but Willer's like, hey.
Hey.
Anyways, I just saw Bradley with a PS4 controller. He's Genshining right now. Should we do Genshin now? I wanted to save it to the end.
I was walking around picking up berries. I was trying not to do something that would like take my attention away.
Let's save it till the end. We can talk about another game that's got a great story mode. Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah.
You guys were waiting for this game for fucking ever.
Yes. So Tyler and I kind of immediately jumped onto this game. It's like, oh my god, I'm getting this game. Me because I'm a Star Wars fan. Tyler because
I have loved all the Star Wars piloting games.
It's a MOBA, right? Kind of like.
Kind of. Star Wars Squadrons is a game by Electronic Arts. It's basically you take the role of a pilot in the game, and you have a story mode, in which case you are flying on both sides of the rebellion and the Empire as 2 different characters, and you kind of get to see their stories play out in this conflict post episode 6. The multiplayer mode is you have 2 modes only. You have basically dogfight, which is team deathmatch, and you have the fleet-based mode, which is a kind of like MOBA rush from Battlefield-esque kind of game that I really, really like. But the biggest thing about this game is that you can play it entirely on HOTAS and VR, which, wow, that's a game to play in VR, 100%.
What's HOTAS?
Oh, yeah.
HOTAS is flight stick.
It's like a flight stick, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have been playing in VR and with a flight stick. This game, I'm very bad at it because, people are using controllers, but this is the most fun simulator I've ever had.
Mhm.
It looks great in VR. It looks great outside of VR. And like when I'm flying around in an X-Wing, I can like do this cool like half loop thing and then like lift my entire head up and see out the top of my cockpit to find like more TIE fighters to shoot.
It's gotta be immersive as shit.
It's so good. And like the game, graphically, the game is it's fantastic. The game is also only $40, which is insane.
Yeah, that's nice.
So like graphically, the game in VR is pretty good in terms of like looking around and like the details around you. Like one of the ships you can fly is the U-wing, which made its appearance in Rogue One. Is a like kind of like a light ground transport vehicle or like plane where you could have like a small squadron behind you, like drop off. So when you're in VR, you can turn around and you can see like all the seats and the stuff that you would have back there if you were dropping off, like in the Soul crew, essentially. And the same thing in like the TIE bomber and so on and so forth. Each of the sides, it's an asymmetric game too in terms of like the fighter gameplay, because the fighters on the Rebel side and the fighters on the Imperial side play completely different. The fighters on the Rebel side have access to shields, which give them a little bit more health, and thus kind of can survive a little bit more of the fire whenever you get shot at. But the Empire side, all of them but one of the ships do not have shields. But what this means is that it introduces a new mechanic in the game for both sides, which is energy management. So you have a resource management game within this game. So you have to balance out, like, do I want to transfer my energy to my shield so I can power up my shields as a rebel? Or do I want to transport it to my engine so I have a lot more maneuverability and speed so I can get away from the people that are attacking me? And then when I go on the offensive, I can transfer power to the weapons, allowing me to have a faster recharge rate for my guns and hit a little bit harder as well. So you have all these different factors that you're like taking into consideration while you're flying this plane, and I just think it's fucking neat, man. Like there was nothing like that gave me better joy when I was playing one of the story missions, and they're like the guy over the communications is like, all right, transfer all your power to shields and set deflector shields to forward, which is exactly what they do when they fly down the Death Star trench. It's
you're like, it's like I'm in the movie.
And it works. Like, it's an actual mechanic in the game. It saved my life so many times where like I'm flying away and I set the deflector shields backwards because it gives me a little bit more health and I can like run away and dodge. It feels fantastic and feels like you're.
Do they make you do the mission where you shoot the little Death Star butthole and blow it up?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no.
What? That's like such a miss slam dunk.
I agree. They should have let you done that. That's one of my biggest things here is that they don't do like historic battles. Yeah, it's real weird.
They should add like a events mode where you get to play like or like
that
snowy planet with all the AT-ATs or whatever. That'd be neat.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
We don't know. Like I feel like this game is going to get a lot of support for it down the line. We don't know what all they're going to come out with.
That's the thing. So when EA originally announced this game, they came out and said, hey, this is a standalone game. We don't have any plans to do any support post-game. There's no microtransactions of games, so on and so forth. But I think the game has really picked up steam and has been really, really popular. And so I think EAs would be foolish to not support the game in some way. And they have a system in place because they have like events going on. Like right now, they had a thing where like you have challenges to do. If you complete 20 of the challenges, you get a helmet for completing 20 of the challenges. So like obviously they have an idea of seasons evolved in there. Where like after 60 days that helmet can't be accomplished. And
EA passing out money seems unlikely to me.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that they do come back and be like, hey, we're gonna support this game, we're gonna add some more DLC content, I would love for a battle pass for this game. I think it's the perfect like game for it. So the two modes in this game are, other than the story mode, I haven't played much of the story mode. Have you played any of it, Tyler? I played like
I've played like 3 missions so far, and I'm having fun. Like,
yeah,
I played Rogue Strike and Rebel Squadrons like so much on the GameCube. Like, that is my main motivation that I spent $500 to play this game.
Rogue Squadron
What
is
an
so
investment.
fucking good. I that's the other thing. I played a lot of Rogue Squadron on the GameCube as well, so it felt great getting back into an X-wing. But I played a little bit of the story. A lot from what I've read about the story is that it's very much a tutorial about the systems in the game, so you can take it to multiplayer. And I've seen a negative connotation for that. I don't really see that as a negative, so long as like your basic gameplay is good. It's kind of like a Monster Hunter, where like a lot of the missions are just kind of there to introduce you to the mechanics of the monsters, so you can go and fight the monsters later at higher difficulties. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really see a problem with that, but I know a lot of people really wanted a story segment from this game that was the flight simulator, but that's not necessarily what I cared about. So it's not a big deal for me, but I understand for a lot of people that could be something. But the multiplayer side of it, though, I think is really good, but has one big hindrance to it. So the multiplayer has dogfight and it has fleet battles. Dogfight is pretty self-explanatory. It's a 5v5. You kill each other until I think you kill 20 or 30. Once you kill 30 players of the opposite team, you win the game. That's basically the mode. It's really simple, really straightforward. Fleet battles, on the other hand, is essentially you have a flagship cruiser, or you have a flagship that you're escorting, and 2 kind of cruisers, and the enemy does too. Your goal is to blow up all of their cruisers. So it kind of goes this back and forth segment stage where like the first stage is like you have to fight the fighters. If you're able to win the fighters, you go into attack and you have to blow up the cruisers.
That really is like Battlefield Rush.
Yeah, so like you go on the cruisers. However, if they're able to blow up enough of your fighters or blow up your like main attack assault like Corvette, it causes you to go on the defensive, and now you have to defend. So you have this kind of like offense defense back and forth kind of gameplay, which I think is really intriguing. It makes you think on your feet and have to adapt and like really make strategic decisions on your builds beforehand as well when you go into the game. And it's really great. I think it does. And when you go to the flagship, you have these different subsystems that you have to destroy. And as you destroy the subsystems, it makes that flagship a lot weaker. So you can destroy the shield subsystems, and now the shields aren't up, and the shields block all damage so long as you're firing outside of the shield. So it gives you a lot more range to fire from to shoot at this flagship. And you can blow up the targeting system, so like the turrets don't work anymore. There's a whole layer of mechanics in this game that I think are phenomenal.
That sounds dope. I feel like a MLG game of that would be cool.
MLG.
Yeah.
Because that's what they don't have a FGC. If it's a shooter, it's MLG or whatever.
Yeah. So I love that game mode. They also have an AI version of that game mode, so it's only you versus the AI, which is fantastic because it means that even if the community dies and you really like the gameplay, you just play against the AI. And
the AI kicked my ass.
Yeah, the AI is pretty good for what it does on easy or normal. So I highly recommend playing that for like practice strats and everything. My one major complaint about this game is that it does not have custom matches. That's my biggest complaint about this game.
But they can add that, hopefully, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Because I would love to do like 2v2 custom matches where like, we put 2 people on one side, 2 people on the other, and then we just kind of fight at it. And like, it may take longer, but it also might be fun just to kind of like, do like we do in League, where we just, sit around, we all play, and we just kind of fight each other. Yeah. So that's the one thing I really, really want from this game. The game also has a plethora of customizations, ranging from the person that's piloting your ship to your ship itself. Like you could put bobbleheads on your dashboard, little ornaments, change the color of your ship. Cool. There is a lot of love and care in this game, and it really, really shows.
Once again, I want to shout out our good friend Alex because he worked on this. I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast. He worked on this game as a QA balance.
He was a balance specialist, as he's credited in the credits. Yeah. So that's really neat. He's really fucking good at the game because he had 7 months over us.
Fucking cheater.
We will go into the game for dogfight, and he will get 17 out of 30 kills. easily. He'll die maybe once, and that's
And
because,
do the most damage to the flagship.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know what he does.
Must feel good to be that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know
I didn't talk about variety of the ships, but I think the ships have a lot of variety to them, and they feel very different when you fly them. Like you have the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, which are the balanced class, the Y-Wing and the Bomber, TIE Bomber, which are like your heavy class that's more designed to taking out the big ships. Interceptors and A-Wing, which are designed to take out other squadron members, and then you have the support ships, which I think is a really cool class to play as, where you go around, you heal people, you give them more ammunition or shields, and I think overall this game is phenomenal. It's one of the best I've played this year. It was only $40. I would give the game like a solid 8 out of 10. It's really small, and maybe that goes against it, maybe it doesn't. It's an 8 out of 10, but if you play in VR, it's like a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, y'all. If they come out with the Lego version of this game, though, now we're talking.
That'd be a cool little mode.
I
That's
highly
one
recommend
mode,
Star Wars
but-
Squadrons if you like flying sims or Star Wars.
We will hear about this later in December.
Yep, for sure.
For when blood will be shed. We have 3 more topics. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna talk about The Boys season 2 real quick. 'Cause I watched that.
Boys.
I watched it all in like a day or two. What's really nice about The Boys is that there's only 8 episodes.
That is nice.
Good.
Dude, so I don't know if Boys season 1, I think Boys season 1 was liked, but overall, like I've been hearing better things about season 2 than season 1.
Overall, I hear that most people like it less. At least the reviews I've seen.
Just from our friends, that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, but our friends don't always represent the internet in a whole.
Yeah, our friends are
That's
stupid.
That's not true.
That's not true. Only like 6 of them.
That's not true. What's wrong with you, Joe? Joe is not a shonen protagonist. The shonen protagonist would never say that about his friends. So when we left off with The Boys, when I last talked about it, as y'all will recall, if you heard that talk, I watched the first 3 episodes and I dropped it for a long time, and then I said, "Fuck it, I want to see how this turns out." And then I ended up really liking it. It turned out pretty good. The show takes the basis of the just dumb comics that it's based on and makes something really cool out of it. But I had my gripes with it, and season 2 is the exact same positives and negatives for the most part.
Okay.
So, positives, I really like the characters in this show. They've really grown on me. I really love how they take superheroes and put them in it's maybe the most realistic take, give or take, not necessarily the tone, but the whole superhero as an influencer or as a superstar is done so well. It has so many good jokes.
That would totally happen. Like if you dropped in superheroes in the real world right now, they would have their they would be influencers.
Absolutely.
They'd have their fucking accounts.
And the whole show is based off of there's this company called Vought that owns the superheroes, and you find out that they also created the superheroes, and superheroes aren't none of them are actually made naturally. They're all test tube babies, and it's pretty fucked up when it leaks. What are y'all chatting over here?
Joe's typing funny shit in the chat.
Joe says the only thing buzzing more than me is a hive of bees. Cool. So the characters are really good. I really like what they do with the superheroes. It's got cool action. It's got really decent plot twists. The thing I've always disliked and still dislike about The Boys is that it's so busy being dumb, edgy shock horror that I'm rolling my eyes every 20 minutes or so on average. I had to keep a track of all the stupid plot bullshit and moments that made me roll my eyes. But what's good is so good that it balances out to a solid, good show that I enjoy. Season 2 is just about as good as Season 1 for me. It has some extra strengths. It has some extra weaknesses. This season introduces a new hero called Stormfront.
Okay.
She's really entertaining. She's really hip. But you find out that she's a little bit of a Nazi, and by a little bit I mean like she was literally like in like hanging out with Hitler in her youth because she hasn't
Oh,
aged,
God.
and it comes out that she's like a omega Nazi, and you're like, oh,
Yo, yo, yo.
You can still fix her.
she man,
She's a bit of a
that
fixer.
actress is very good looking. It's a real struggle as a Latino man like myself, who she would definitely electrocute to death.
Yo.
Yeah, she's not very nice. But I always talk about this. The character of Homelander is like so incredibly S tier. He is like one of my favorite villains right now in media. He's so entertaining. His actor, I believe Anthony Starr, adds so much nuance to this character because it's like, I don't know if I've ever explained what the deal with Homelander is. He is Superman, and
He's a hyper carry.
and he's a hyper carry of the show in season 1 because like when I didn't want to keep going, I was like I kind of want to watch more Homelander scenes, so I kept watching it. But he's Superman without the morals, but not in like a generic way that you would see like in like a evil Superman, because there's a lot of evil Superman stories right now.
Yeah.
What's really good about Homelander is his insane insecurities and his weird mommy issues that like hold him back from being just a stoic evil badass. And this season they left a really big plot point in season 1. I guess I'll spoil it because it's kind of integral to season 2. But Homelander has a son, and that really humanizes him in interesting ways. But
Just like Dio.
the plot, yeah, it's just Bradley. We established that wasn't real. Joe lied to us. But the thing with the son is like, okay, sure, this is good for Homelander, but Homelander is rotten to the core at this point. He has grown up his entire life wanting attention and love, and his image as like the Superman is contrasted with his complete disregard for human life. He does not care about us mudbloods at all. Or I think he calls us mud people. Sorry.
Mud people.
Oh,
There's a scene where like they're doing like a 9/11 high scene, and he's like, "You mud people, get the fuck away from me, or I'll laser all of you." And I'm like, "Whoa, Homelander,
What
easy
an
on the
asshole.
M word." So like this kid cannot grow up to be like Homelander. That would be disastrous because he's potentially even stronger.
Oh shit.
What they do with that kid is really good. What they do with Homelander, Stonefront is really good. The boys, the heroes, quote unquote, are a lot better this season 2. I feel like because they have a lot more camaraderie.
Billy Butcher is the name of the fucking the ringleader of that, right?
So Billy Butcher is the ringleader of the boys. He's the one character where like he's so like he's written to be the coolest, edgy, British talking, calls you cunt all the time guy, but it's like, you know, the story will never let him do something truly unforgivable. So when he's like, either you tell me where Homelander is, or I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna beat your daughter to a pulp, and then I'll go kill your whole family. And it's like, whatever, Billy Butcher. The story's never gonna allow you to like do any of this bullshit that you're saying. So it really takes you away from it and makes you roll your eyes.
Weird because like even from the outset of this show, like the things that's interesting about the show is the actual like evil or capitalistic superheroes of the show.
That's a good way to
even
it's capitalistic superheroes.
Yeah, and like I think a big part of it that keeps you away from it is like my own cowardice in dealing with some extreme scenes in the show, but like I might get over that.
There's some shit.
Yeah. But B also it's like it's supposed to be these heroes of like people that are trying to kill the superheroes, but I really don't care about that. I care more about like how these like superheroes in this society operate, and
the boys play a good role because they keep the soups in check, and they do it through none of them have powers except they recruit 2 people with powers, one in season 1, one in season 2. But aside from that, it's just a bunch of squishy boys that have problems with superheroes because let's face it, their power they've let their powers get to their heads and they need to be taken down a peg, right? But like Butcher is just such an asshole. However, last season left Butcher off on this amazing point that threw his entire character upside down. They kind of ran that back in the first half of the season, but in the finale of the season, they make his character twice as interesting as that previous point. So like, I'm still with it. Like, he annoys the shit out of me in some scenes, but I'm like, I'm super interested to see where his
So is
character
Bradley.
goes. What?
So who's Bradley?
No, he's not. Butcher is not Bradley.
I'm not a character in that.
No, Bradley's Huey, the main character. Huey's a good lad. I really like Huey, and his relationship
Freeman.
with the superhero Starlight is actually like genuinely super cute. Sometimes you have these couples on TV.
Super cute.
Sometimes you have these couples on TV that have like no chemistry, but whatever. So like I mentioned, the boys have better chemistry this season. I like that. One thing I don't like is like the show pitches itself as like the boys get out of these situations through blackmail and strategy and planning out their attacks so that they don't die to the soups. No, they get through it by being lucky. They have such strong plot armor, and you kind of just have to accept that, I think, because they should be dead 10 times over. There's a scene where they're in the sewers with all 7 of the 7, and they somehow get out of that scene alive through just sheer luck. And people love to like there's a character called Black Noir who is so funny, and because he doesn't talk at all.
He's a quiet guy.
He doesn't talk at all, but he's the Batman, and when he's fighting people, he's super terrifying. He's Batman where he will fuck you up. And like there's this scene, there's like 2 or 3 scenes this season where Black Noir is gonna kill one of the main characters, and someone else shows up out of frame and like knocks them out, and then they escape. It's like, okay, cool. The last big thing I wanted to bring up, there was one thing. The character of the Deep. The Deep is really interesting. He is the person who does that horrific thing in episode 1 of The Boys. And then throughout season 1, that comes to light, and he's kicked out of the 7. And then they go into this big girl power campaign where it's like, girls get it done. And they're doing like the whole Marvel, like all the females show up in the scene in Avengers Endgame. And it's like, yeah, girls. And then like one of the soups comes out as like bisexual. And it's like, no, you're lesbian now. That sells better. And then she's like, what the fuck? No, I'm not. Really good commentary, even if it's on the nose with all that stuff. But the Deep goes through this. I'm not gonna call it a redemption arc because he's still an asshole, but you feel so bad for the guy sometimes. Not everyone's gonna feel this way. The dude's pretty despicable, but he's.
I would consider so.
But
consider what I'm thinking of, what you're thinking of.
But he has there's no way to defend it because there isn't. But they write around it. They write around it really well, and they give him these scenes where he's interacting with marine life. And everyone's like, stop talking to the fish, but he cares about the fish that he befriends so much, and it's like, it's hilarious. He gets adopted into the Church of Scientology this season. It's real good. It's real funny.
Stop talking to the fish sounds like something I would tell Willer if he actually adopted Aquaman's powers.
I would be good friends with the fish, but I would not be evil like the Deep.
Cool. I'll put that like 4th or 5th to watch. I forgot to mention this.
Give it a try. Get to like episode 4, because that's about like at the end of episode 4 is when I was like, okay, I do want to finish up the show, and it's only 16 episodes right now.
That's true. I also forgot to mention this. I watched the entire The Umbrella Academy. I thought I'd just bring it up now because superheroes. I enjoyed Umbrella Academy. Yeah. I think that show is good.
3.5 to 4 out of 5. It's just fun.
Yeah, I would say 4 out of 5.
Fun characters.
It's fun characters. It's nothing like mind blowing.
Yeah.
But like I described it to my dad, it's nothing mind blowing. But like I can watch this and I enjoy it. Like if season 3 comes out and will come out, I'll be happy to watch it. Like I'm like, cool, great. It's kind of like a Dr. Stone effect where it's like I'm happy to see this keep going. I wanted to see more of it, but like it's there, and I really really liked it.
It's in the same place as The Boys for me, where it's like you're doing some really cool, interesting things with the genre that you're in, but the plot decisions that you make me roll my eyes.
Yeah.
I really think Bradley should give them, because Bradley loves superheroes so much.
Yeah.
And you're gonna watch it. You're gonna have the exact same feeling as me, as I think, where you're like,
Yeah.
man, that's really neat, and then you'll roll your eyes at the next scene, but like it'll be enough net positive to where you get through it.
Yeah. So like, what I think the reason I haven't tried it more is because what scared me off is, I think you and other people, whenever the first season was coming out, kind of talking about the first 2 or 3 episodes where it's just like so
shock horror.
It's just so shock horror and edgy, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. So
yeah.
But maybe someday.
Not my preferred tone, but you would really like some of the like thematic things that they're doing. And not all the superheroes are evil. There's a superhero called Starlight. She's actually really sweet. I really like her character arc.
Yeah, I was like, I need a good guy. I need a person in the setting who's a good person.
Starlight and the boys, not counting Butcher, are all like, they're like gruff because they kind of have to like kill people to get their job done sometimes. But deep down inside, I feel like they're pretty good lads. Yeah.
Cool.
Watch The Boys. I mean, people love this show. Like, to some people, like, this show is like the one right now. So like, people really like it.
It's warm.
Yeah. Man, warm TV show. When will you happen?
Ever.
We can talk. Okay, there's 2 things left: 13 Sentinels, which I will cover quickly, and Genshin Impact, which do y'all want to do first?
Let's do 13 Sentinels.
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is the reason why I hate playing Genshin Impact, because when all the dumb bullshit is happening in Genshin Impact, I'm like, I should be playing 13 Sentinels right now. This game...
You mentioned this earlier, I think, or last podcast, that you just blindly bought it, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I blindly bought a Gundam 2v2 versus game.
You did buy that, but you also
and an Attack on Titan game because I'm a fucking Attack on Titan weeb now. That's part of my personality. But this game I knew I would buy as soon as I saw like the trailers. But then when the reviews came out and people talked about it, I was like, it's out. I need to get it now. Okay. So what is 13 Sentinels? It is a Vanillaware game. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vanillaware games, but they make Odin Sphere, Muramasa, Dragon's Crown, and other games. They have a very unique art style where they have like mastered this sprite stretching. Just look up at a screenshot of 13 Sentinels and you will see what I'm talking about. It is mind-blowingly gorgeous. So this game is, what's the best way to describe it? The game has 13 protagonists, and you're going through a non-linear story. The first cutscene you see is the beginning of the final battle. And then the rest of the cutscenes is how we got there, and then I'm sure there's some cutscenes for after. And these 13, they're all like teenage to young adult level people. They can all summon giant robots in a very Attack on Titan fashion where like you're a human being, and then you like... a part of your body glows, and then you just like there's an explosion, and there's a giant machine that you pilot. And these machines
are just
look really cool.
Basically Gundams are organic, so you know.
I mean, Attack on Titan is just biological mecha, and this is just mecha. But what this story is doing is that it is a super ambitious time traveling tale. Everything I'm gonna tell you is revealed in the prologues, and there's plenty of game after that. It is extremely non-linear. Like, I've heard it say that this is the most ambitious story maybe told, period, because of the medium and how it's telling it. And so far, I'm leaning towards agreeing. This is like,
I'm sold. Give me 6 copies.
There is no game I've ever played. There's nothing I've ever watched where I pull out my note app and take notes to understand the plot. And it's not because the plot is saying some mumbo jumbo that doesn't make sense. I understand everything they're talking about. It is just, it's told in such a non-linear fashion, and every 30 minutes, if you're keeping up with the plot, it's really important that you are keeping up with it. But if you are, every 30 minutes, you will get a new mind-blowing plot twist. And it's not like over the top, it's just like, what the fuck is this character doing in this time era? Wait, you know that person? Wait,
It's Virtue's Last Reward too.
it is giving me Virtue's Last Reward vibes, but it is like way more time traveling, which is saying a lot because that game is fucking time traveling.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like I'm still trying to piece together all these relationships, but for the combat sequences, which I didn't even know, I thought this was going to be a straight visual novel when I bought it, and then suddenly I'm in a fucking combat sequence. The combat sequences are you're controlling your mechs, and you're doing this real-time strategy, but you're pausing when you're selecting your moves. So you're positioning your mechs to like take out these waves of kaiju, which is what they call these giant robots that are attacking. From what I understand in the plot, they are simultaneously attacking like every era of humanity somehow. And I'm learning things about them recently in the plot where I'm like, whoa, what? Who made them? Why?
So how does this game play? What's it like? Is it like a
So
Is it turn-based?
It's got
It sounds
three
like
sections. This is really
Yeah.
fun, actually. It's got three sections: combat, story, and the archives. And I'm counting the archives because the archives are also a game.
yeah.
And I'll explain shortly. So for the battles, like I said, it's real-time strategy. Now, Vanillaware is a pretty small studio, so they can't like have like their art style is so high budget that the battles have to be art abstracted in a way where it's like you're not seeing like these beautiful sprites fight each other. You're seeing these like 3D representations of the robots and the kaiju, and it takes you like a couple of battles to get used to what you're even seeing. But my most recent battles, I'm on the edge of my seat where I'm like, oh god, you need to be here because you're the person who's good at dealing with these people. But there's like 3 waves coming towards the defense point, and all my people are down here, and none of them have the support weapons to take it out. It's real good strategy. It's nothing too like in depth, but you're making a lot of decisions, a lot of strategies going into it. And I think it's real fun. So once you complete the prologue is like meet character 1, do a battle. Meet character 2, do a battle, and it's teaching you the tutorial. And then you meet your first 6 characters this way, and then you have to unlock the other ones by going through certain story branches. After you do that, the game reveals just 3 modes to you, where you can now just do... I can finish every battle in the game, kind of. After you complete Area 1, you reach a point where it's like, have 30% story completion to move on. So you can switch back to the story mode and make progress there. Currently, I'm about like 36% done with the battle sequence, about 36% done with the story sequence, and about 12% done with the archive system. So the thing with the archive is, and I really like this, first of all, they have their list of characters and keywords that you reach throughout the game. Pretty standard to see in games, right? Mm-hmm. These update every time you get something new in the story that introduces a new concept or a new part of this character. They will get a new entry in that list. You also have to spend points to unlock certain files, which you get the points through gameplay. So you get to choose kind of like how you're unlocking these things or reading more about it. There's also the event sequence. Now this is really cool. Every single cutscene in the game slots into a linear timeline. Even though it's like all over the place, jumping through histories, it will have a linear timeline that you can follow. And it might be like Event 2 takes place in 2180, but Event 3 takes place in 1984, but Event 3 is back in 2180. So like,
that is ambitious.
Even though each event might be in a different timeline, it is literally going through like this story. So every cutscene you watch gets put into this, and then you get to like, as you're playing the game, you get to see this timeline fill out, and you're getting to see the full picture. And what's really cool, you can click on any event and automatically replay that part of the story. It's super seamless. If you want to be refreshed what happened in a cutscene, you just have to do that. That's pretty much the game. For the story sequences, you're in this 2D, like 2.5D sprite artwork. It looks really pretty, and you're moving around, and you're talking to people, and kind of like you're doing a little bit of puzzle solving where it's like, oh, I have this keyword, so I can say this to this character and get this new piece of information and go down a different branch. But yeah, like, just every 30 minutes, man, I'm getting plot twist and plot twist and plot twists. Just because, like, the story is so deep and you're getting it out of order. So I literally have to pull out notes to keep track of everything, which is really fun. Like, just discovering the story has become a meta game. And I just really
I'm
want
excited
to
to
play
see what the final rating is going to be.
I want Willer and Bradley to play this game together. That's what I want in my life.
It seems
we're
like
playing. We're playing the Solemn Files together. Is what we're gonna do.
yeah, that's next. Bradley would really like the story because it's doing all the stuff that VLR does really good.
Yeah, like when you were describing it, I've even though we finished Virtue's Last Reward, which is fucking god tier, by the way, we finished it weeks ago. But even this week, I just woke up in the morning and I was still thinking about the story. I was like, man, I wish I had more of that. And as you were describing this game, I'm like, hey, it's more VLR.
Scratching an itch. Also, the characters are really good. So there's 13 of them plus other side characters. The 13s are just the ones that are in the Sentinels. And they all have, like, these very different relationships with one another. Like, for example, the main character is called Juro Kurabe. Another reason why I take notes is because it's so hard to keep track of the names. It is so difficult because they have first names, last names, all super Japanese, 3 syllables, like 3 to 5 syllable names. But the problem is certain characters call other characters by their first or last name. So in a conversation, they'll be like, Juro-kun. I'll be like, oh, right, Juro. And then they'll be like, Kurabe-kun. I'm like, wait, that's the same person? But then also, like, 3 or 4 of the characters have multiple identities. So it's like I have to keep track. For Juro, I have to keep track of 2 sets of names.
Bakun!
So, like, Juro, like, okay, so the main plot line seems to take place mostly in 1984. There's a timeline in 1940s. A couple of your characters are part of, like, the Japan Axis army. And they're like, I hear America has these amazing new weapons, so we're building these giant robots to fight them. And then the kaiju attack, they're like, are those the American weapons? But no, it's not. It's a lot more dangerous than American weapons. Certain characters are from the year 2025, and they went back to, like, every character's converging in 1984 to solve this dilemma, and I'm trying to figure out, like, why
The 0 time
1984.
dilemma.
Man.
Yeah. So is it like the characters are traveling back in time to this segment, or are you experiencing, like... So, never mind. So the way you described it was like the kaiju are attacking like all instances of time at the same time or something like that.
I don't know. Just like every timeline, they seem to have attacked. And I don't know how they're doing this.
That's so cool.
That's an interesting premise. And you're right. It sounds very ambitious. But the way that they seem to be structuring it seems to be working relatively
it's amazing. I love that it's this mindfuck that I have to piece together.
Yeah.
And I love that I have that event tree I can go back to and go down.
So when you're playing through things like the story mode or the combats, is it like you pick like an era and you play all those combats or go through all the story
pick
segments?
One of the 13 main characters, and then like suddenly, like, a character you were in the 80s with, the next story segment you get with them is in the future. And you're like, wait, when did you travel? How did you travel? And then in another character story, you're going to figure out why and how that happened. And it's
so is it like laid out in like a level 1, level 2, level, like kind of like a Devil May Cry 5 where you're jumping between things? Or is it like you just can go down one path entirely and then move on to
you'll
another
hit
character?
blockers where it's like complete this character's event or unlock this many events in the or this many mysteries or do this many battles.
But you have some sort of
you have a lot of freedom of like which path you want to get. So I'm going to experience these events in completely different orders than a lot of other people, which is a fun part of it.
That is a really fun part.
But one standout moment is these 2 characters that have not met in the story yet. Suddenly, they're both in the era 2180, which is way further than anything I had been into the game when I got here. And they're colonizing this like they're in this weird space colony, and they're adults now, and they know each other. It's like, what the fuck? You guys have never even met, as far as I'm aware. How are you guys even alive? That's
Dude,
the kind
I
of
like this
complex.
because it sounds like a mix between Virtue's Last Reward and one of my favorite books. On my bookshelf in my room, I have like 3 favorite books on the top shelf, and it's a book called Fine Structure, which is cool, but it sounds very similar to the way you're kind of experiencing, how the player experiences these events, because the it's kind of a mystery book, but the mystery is like the plot of the book, where like the first chapter might take place in 2011, then the second chapter takes place in like 1990.
Exactly.
Then the
exactly.
next chapter takes place in the year 30,000.
Exactly.
Then the next chapter takes place in like 1940s Russia or some shit. So it sounds like a mix between Virtue's Last Reward and that, and like those are both god tier things to me. So I'm like, that sounds so cool.
I'm sure if you go through the story, like after I beat the game, I'm thinking about going through the story completely linearly of like, this was the cause and this was the effect, and like that's how it goes, right? And it's like, even if you go through it linearly, I bet it's still a complex story, and that's what's making it really work.
Did this game like come out of nowhere? Because I've barely heard about it. Like, where'd you hear about it?
Well, it got announced at E3, and everyone's like, "Oh man, Vanillaware games always look so pretty." But it just came out like last month. I
Cool.
talked about it a lot. I'm not gonna talk about it again. I'm gonna bring it up whenever I finish in a free talk, but you're only gonna hear about this game again in any deep context for the Game of the Year talk.
I think you've got a pretty good sell on it, man.
Yeah,
and it does
I
fucking
agree.
look pretty.
If I had more money, I would purchase it and get it, because to me that sounds good. Like, I really want to play Virtue's Last Reward just based off what y'all have said.
Also, great
it's
game.
it's just like, I have this, which is the hobby table that I got for my birthday that y'all provided me, and all the stuff I'm doing there, and some other things, and work, and I only make $8.25 an hour.
No.
The American struggle.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
not get
but-
bogged down in the sadness.
Yeah, but like that sounds like an interesting game, and I am not a big story game person, but I do like things like Virtue's Last Reward or 999 that take stories and really consider the aspect of the medium they're doing it in and make it to their.
Yeah,
use it
it's
to-
definitely like, this could only be a
Yeah.
video game, 100%, just
Mhm.
like what VLR did, but even more so because like, again, like I can't express how integral that analysis menu is, because in other games you'll get these character files and it's like, whatever, like I might read them, I might not, they're not integral to
cares?
the plot, like they might, like you'll get secret files eventually, like in a Kingdom Hearts or The World Ends With You.
Yeah.
You gotta read those. But in this game, you're constantly going back to that analysis to like check where you're at. I don't know if this is a game where I have to force Bradley to play it one day. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know if it's like, if I need...
It would be good
like,
if, like,
I feel like he
when
would
you
like
beat
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll know for sure when I beat it. Like, if this
I do, like, by all means, this sounds like something I want to play. I want to wait and see. I want to wait for you to finish it so I can know like how the payoff is, because
what if the payoff
like,
is
it is super ambitious.
Yeah.
You know.
If the payoff is flaccid, I'm not like, I'm gonna bring it up and be like, yeah, it was a cool adventure, but like I didn't like the ending.
I'm a big fan of the Willard Bradley duel, like playing a game and hearing just Bradley reactions and just
me too.
having Willard be the guy.
Can't
I would
wait
be
to-
a part of
I
it.
can't wait to, like, from moment one, I'm gonna have to start gaslighting Bradley, which is way earlier
Yeah.
than I did in the other game. All right.
I would love to be a part of it, but I literally can't because of physical reasons. But
Yeah.
it's I think, to me, this sounds like a Willard guides and Bradley plays kind of game.
The one thing is, like, I don't know how we would do battle sequences because I enjoy playing them. I don't know if Bradley would. I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
the Somnium Files, if we play a game, that's got to be next, though. because
You know
that's
what?
what
If
I
there's
wanna
any
talk about.
block pushing puzzles, I'll do those.
You're so good at those. All
All
right,
right, is it time?
it's time.
Yo, here's what I'm
Breath-
thinking.
Breath of
Breath
the Waifu.
of the waifu.
There it is.
God damn. I have done nothing in my free time except play Genshin Impact since that hour it came out.
That's not
We
true.
even-
We've played.
Okay, I played some League
He's
games.
played some
I played
League and
games.
some Among Us, but aside from that, as far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
Bradley even did chores so he could play more Genshin.
There was like I had a job interview last Thursday and I ended up getting the job. And from the moment I got home from that interview, pretty much no basic human decency or cleanliness was practiced for 3 or 4 days. So on Sunday night, I was like, I have to clean my apartment and clean myself so I don't feel like a total goblin.
When Bradley gets addicted to something, it's scary. Like,
It is scary.
don't let Bradley around any hard drugs. I'm scared.
I think the last time I was able to play a game for 12+ hour stretches was Breath of the Wild.
Which is fitting.
And what a coincidence, because this game is Breath of the Wild. Genshin Impact, if
you've heard about it.
The thing, whenever I first saw the trailers for the game, I was like, okay, it's Breath of the Wild. It has like the Hilichurls or Bokoblins. It has the grass looks the same, and you set it on fire and all that shit. It even has the fucking piano music that they do in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
However, it's the reason I saw the trailer and I was like, I want to buy this game is because I thought the combat looked a lot more fun than Breath of the Wild, because there's more than one character. There's actually 24 characters right now?
Yeah. I think there's 20, if I remember from my readings of this. This is a game that all 4 of us have played and own. It's a free game. We are playing it on different platforms. Tyler's playing on PS4. I say different. Tyler's the only one that's different from all of us.
No, I'm playing on PC.
Tyler's playing on PC. I'm sorry. The 3 of us are playing on PS4. Yeah. It's also available on phones.
This fucking game. So I think Willer's the one who told me these figures initially.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild had a $20 million budget. This game had a $100 million budget, and in less than 2 weeks, it has already made its money back.
This game is making bank.
It is making fucking bank. So,
what is it for people who don't know?
Yeah, it's an open world kind of adventure game. It's also a gacha game with waifus. It's a gacha game, so the characters you play as, can roll money to unlock new characters. There's some you get just for playing the story. Now, I'm gonna say a lot of good stuff about this game because I really fucking like it. However, when we do our inevitable game of the year conversation, I don't know where this is gonna place because, there are games that came out this year where,
games that didn't come out this year that we all just played.
Yeah, there are games that came out this year where there's very few negative things I could say about it. Like, for example, Spelunky 2. Mm-hmm. This game, as much as I love it, and I've been playing it nonstop since it came out, there are some things about it that fucking suck. I do still fucking love the game. So the reason I'm saying that is because I was talking about the gacha mechanic where, there are some characters, the only way to unlock them is you roll this premium currency, and you do achieve this premium currency just by playing the game, or you can buy it. However, among gacha games, the rolling is pretty shitty because, number one, the percent chance of you getting the character you want for a lot of the characters is 0.6%. And fuck that.
Less,
number two,
because it's usually split in half in a banner.
Yeah. And number two, when you're rolling for characters, you can also I'm not going to say also, most of the time you will get weapons instead of a character when you roll.
Yeah.
And it's it's always going to be a weapon you already have unless you get a 4 or 5 star weapon, which you might already have.
A weapon's going to have cool statistical things, but they don't look that crazy. I play out of all of us, I definitely have played and do play the most gacha games. This is this is the least fun one to pull, and you're getting a lot of bang for your buck when you do get a character because you're getting a nicely modeled 3D character with a lot of voice clips and action game moves, because this is
the character is essentially all unlocked. You get its ultimate, you get its ability, you have constellations that give you more benefits, but it has its moveset. So you are playing a full character.
You can do the full moveset of the character once you unlock it, right? Which is really cool. However, pulling weapons feels so bad.
It's so bad.
So you use weapons to level them up into more weapons. It's that's the gimmick part of you're always getting
every
something.
gacha game.
Yeah,
you feed your dudes other dudes.
If you have duplicate weapons, there is a neat mechanic where if your weapon has an innate passive skill, oh, you gain more attack damage when attacking slimes. That's like the most generic example. But if you have a duplicate of that specific weapon, you can feed it into that weapon to level up its innate passive ability.
Yeah, I just found that out yesterday.
Every gacha mechanic, but
yeah,
yes.
every gacha game has it, but I just found out you could do that in Genshin yesterday. So I was like, oh shit, like I'm actually gonna try to get this more of this fortune.
This is my first gacha game. And I have here's my spiel about it. I'm gonna do some good and then I will do the bad. This is my first gacha game. My worst luck I've had in games is actually playing MapleStory, where rolling for good weapon enhancements and like trying to get good equipment in that is so like you don't even get guarantees in that game. Like, and even after trying to increase your weapons and stuff, it can just blow up and destroyed and all of your money's gone to waste. So yeah, Willer, I see your reaction right now.
Your weapon
you can
blow
literally
up?
Yes, you can lose money playing MapleStory.
That's like,
and your equipment
that's like
is
if
gone.
there was a character like a waifu who is like a cannibal, and if you pull her, she eats one of your random waifus.
Yeah, that is exact. Like, so when people talk about gachas and like gambling and stuff, I'm like, I don't think any of it could be worse than MapleStory.
That doesn't mean anything. That bar is so astronomically low that comparing anything to it is not like anything.
That bar, Tyler, is basically on the floor, and you have to take a step over it.
That bar is in the center of the planet Earth.
So that being said, I will say if you're like if you play free to play games, I love free to play games because I get to choose how much I want to spend.
Yeah.
I often don't play that many full on $60, $70, $80 titles anymore because I'm like, okay, I'm going to play this, maybe get a good 30-hour experience out of it, and it'll probably be really great, really refined, but I'm not going to get the same experience I can have playing with my friends, like having those moment to moment like experiences like, oh, I pulled this character, or oh, look at this like fun story we had together doing like stupid shit and climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy those, and like Monster Hunter gives me that type of experience, which is why I love it. It's a full cost title that has hundreds and hundreds of hours out of it.
Emergent gameplay or emergent storytelling.
I like my games to basically give me more than 100 hours. I'm a very weird person.
That's not my bar, dude. That's why you wanted me to play Bravely Default so bad.
Yeah. Like, if I'm playing a game, I expect to play it for more than 100 hours. That being said, I'm very weird. There's a lot of great games I've played that are under that, Mass Effect and, like, you know, story-based games. But anyway, so the game is great, and I will say this has one of the best open world environments I've ever experienced.
If I can step in here.
Beautiful.
Let me step in here because this is my favorite aspect of the game and why it drives me insane. This open world's incredible. Like it's even better than Breath of the Wild, which was the other best open world.
God, it's so good.
What the fuck? It's so well crafted. And like
I was in Willer's world and I forgot what we were looking for, but there was like, there was these like cracked walls. There was this cracked wall on the side of a mountain, and we broke it. And there's like this mine in there, and in the side of the mine, there's like this hole in the wall where you swim through, and there's like another chamber,
like a cave system down there. Man, but like you're just looking at the vistas, and there's so like this game has so much more elevation. I was exploring the westmost part of the map earlier today, with a bunch of mountains. What the hell? You're in the peak of the mountains, and it's foggy, and you can't even see the bottom, right? So you're like in any other game, if you're in the peak of the mountains, that foggy area is your death zone. You go down there, and like you'll be transported. You go through the fog, and there's just an incredible amount of stuff in the valleys in that area, and it's like, it is an incredible open world. Exploring it is very fun, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel like, as much as I love that, the game kneecaps itself with its gacha and progression mechanics. Oh, that's me.
And man, talking about exploring, so I've probably even said it on this podcast before, and I know I've said it to you guys, that one of my favorite moments in gaming was in Breath of the Wild. The first time I stepped into the desert and I saw this giant camel monster on the horizon, and it killed me with purple lightning.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like in awe of stumbling across this thing in the world.
It's a cool moment.
And that moment for me in this game was stepping into the second capital city of Liyue Harbor.
I haven't been there yet.
Because like the first hub city, Mondstadt, it's a cool hub city, whatever. The Mondstadt region, it's fun to explore, but it's kind of plain. It's actually full of a bunch of plains. Dude, the Liyue region not only is fucking awesome, the capital city is tremendous. And it's not just like artificially big, it's dense too. I am just in awe of it.
Yeah, like, so part of the reason, initially, I had a hard time accepting that this game exists. And the reason is why it's like, this is a free-to-play, super polished game, very few bugs. And I'm just like, and I'm in the game industry, so I'm like, just what was the human cost? How many slaves are put to work to make this game happen? And I try not to think about it because this game is like, for a free game, they fucking went to town, dude. There's a lot of story. Like, they did not skimp out on the story. You could play this game and just go through the quest line and like still have a solid 15 to 20 hours of gameplay if you just go through the main quest line, because you do hit a level barrier, so you're gonna have to explore a little bit to get past that, but then you get the next part of the story.
And the story is also, I believe, like not seasonal, but like
it'll be
it's
incrementally
time-gated.
Yeah.
You will get more as it goes on, so you will get more later, and it will be added on for free, I believe.
So eventually, I just had to swallow my suspicions that people are to this day being whipped, to create new caves in the fucking walls that only me and Bradley will ever find. So it's like, it's tremendously polished. This team did amazing. Man,
the other main feature of this game, and I got this description from Willer, is that this game dev team in China has created an algorithm that spits out perfect waifus that cater to certain demographics. Like,
people are going bananas for these people, man.
I have lost my fucking mind. These characters are so cute.
Jean.
Okay, I've been holding. I'm gonna say it now. So one of the things I don't like. So the main things I dislike about this game, I mentioned, is like the gacha and the level progression blocks where you'll find something cool and you can't interact with it. The story's a bit long sometimes, but it's whatever. I don't like the character designs, and I think that's why I haven't been sucked in like you guys.
With Willer, I think...
That's not true. Yeah. The other day you said something very incriminating.
You did say something
You
very
said, I can't play
incriminating,
this game because I feel too horny when playing it.
That's true. That is entirely true, but... That's
besides the point. I'm always horny.
That's irrelevant.
That's the point. The point being is that the game is so overly... So let's compare this to Hades. Hades has a very anime influence to it, but takes that style and does a really good job of integrating into that Greek culture, that shading and so forth. So you get the influence, but it doesn't seem entirely anime. This is 100% anime down to a T, and it's so full on anime that I hate it. Like, One Piece is anime and manga, but it has its own distinct style that I can point out a One Piece character from anything
like,
else.
This is even like below Bleach tier, where all the characters are dressed the same. Like, for me, so you ever see those JRPGs in like a Nintendo Direct, and you look at the character designs, and you're like, yeah, that's a fucking JRPG character.
JRPG.
Every character in this game gives me that emotion. Now,
it's very
generic.
It's very generic anime, but
these are very high-polished JRPG characters that constantly run at a smooth 60 FPS at a large open-world environment.
Yeah.
How they pulled that off is a feat on its own.
Yeah.
It's also made in Unity.
This
is made in Unity, which is crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's a game engine.
You know.
And that's a game engine that traditionally you would not want to use for a 3D game of this scope. At all. At all. Like, even Unreal pulling this off is pretty impressive, let alone Unity.
But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, if I take a character from this show and put it into like Sword Art Online or any other kind of very generic anime, I wouldn't tell the difference.
Now,
but take
they're well executed generics. Like,
they are polished. They look great. It's just I don't feel any character or love from it like I do from like
No,
Squadrons or Hades.
That's me
where
and
it's like,
Joe, where we want like
Yeah.
a unique art style. Now, Bradley, why don't you tell us who your favorite waifus are?
yeah.
So
Here we go, baby. Oh, I don't want to make you pick, but if you
a
want.
lot of us are very jealous because, like, by far the cutest character is Mona, and our friend Alex. She's a 5-star character. You have 0.6% chance of getting her. By the way, our friend Alex like rolled her on his very first roll.
Whoa.
And all of us are jealous because we know because of the drop rates we are never going to get her. And I'm so jealous.
I'm not jealous though.
I'm so jealous.
Because my top gal is Jean, and I got her on my first roll.
True.
Yeah.
Jean is a babe.
She's a babe.
Really? This is who y'all are sipping for?
Yeah.
I mean, she's Bradley bait because she's like
She's a witch.
She's a witch girl.
Witch lady.
I'd rather have Lisa over Mona, but that's
I'm more.
just me.
If we're going for witches, I'm a Lisa man myself.
Yeah. Lisa's also fun to play. I love her mechanic.
We haven't mentioned
like the mechanics
how
of the game.
pretty good all the characters' individual mechanics are.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I want to talk about combat, and I watched a review today about like what is the combat like. Each character has their own melee, ranged, or magic style to them. They all have a pretty basic 4 to 5 combo system with a
hold
charged
attack,
attack as
yeah.
well that consumes some stamina. If you're a mage though, it's really cool because your charged attack will create an elemental burst. Some basic attacks can also apply that element of that type,
But
as well as your
generally-
ranged characters.
Generally, it's your special, not ultimate. Your special move is the one that will apply the element. But certain characters like archers and magicians can more easily apply it.
Yeah.
Dude. My fucking character. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce this girl's name. It's
Ka-ching.
K-E.
Ka-ching.
So she's 5-star and I got her very early on and I'm so glad. She's so fucking fun to play. So she has a sword, but her R2, her elemental skill, you can hold it down to aim and throw this lightning stiletto, and it can either stick into an enemy or it can stop midair. And then you can either do a charge attack to detonate it, or you can use your elemental skill again to teleport to where it went, and you'll slash around you. And then after using that, your auto attacks are electric for a little bit. But it's so fucking cool because, like, you can get around stuff that they might want you to use other types of characters or elements for. Where, like, I think there's one dungeon where they recommend you bring an ice guy because there's this fire trap and you have to, like, turn off the fire. I was like, oh, no, I'll just teleport past it. And then, like, so there's none of the bow users that I like playing right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to have a bow user on my team. And all of a sudden, our friend was like, yeah, it's a shame you have to have a bow user on your team. And I was like, no, you don't. And he's like, yeah, there's a boss in Leeway where it literally never touches the ground on one of its phases. You have to have a bow user. I was like, oh, I just throw my stiletto up there and teleport up to it and kill it.
Yeah, none of
That's
these
a
characters.
gotcha game.
No, none of these characters are like the most complex action game characters, but because you're controlling 4 and they're gonna be releasing a bunch, like that is impressive. The amount of like unique mechanics, like my favorite character is this like little twink water boy. Man, these names are tough.
I'm doing his quest right now. He's on my screen.
Oh, cool. He summons a bunch of water swords around him, and when these swords detonate, they will apply water, and it just feels really good to control him. There's this character who could summon a bird as like a turret. A lot of the best characters will summon like a quote-unquote turret, so you can switch into another character. And the battle system really boils down to the elemental burst system, where different elements react with one another, which is like they took fire and grass from Breath of the Wild and then just expanded that drastically to make a bunch of elemental systems. So a lot of combat is just cycling through your entire party to get these cool elemental reactions, which kind of, if battle sometimes feels samey for me, but it's still like your characters are still distinct enough to where like they're all doing something a little different.
It's distinct, and you do have some enemy variety that requires you to have other elements and have you a good balance. Sometimes
enemy variety
like,
pretty bad, but at least like if I'm gonna fight a bunch of bokoblins, at least make them elemental bokoblins, so I have to use another element on them.
Well, like for example, like the big shield guy requires you to get fire on it because you need to burn away a shield. Like, okay, so I need a fire user in my party to like do that. The big thing is that like it's how you put that attribute onto the guy essentially.
Yeah.
But that can also get very.
Or you
stale
can
very
be like
quickly.
me, where you freeze them and just poke his butt over and over while he's
Dude,
frozen.
talk about enemies.
That's fine.
The funniest and worst shit in this game, and you guys already know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Me and Willard were fighting this guy. I think it's called like a Rocky Lava Churl. I was looking through the wiki for the name. Whatever. It's this big rocky guy who I affectionately named Chungo. And that's pretty much all there is to him. He's a big rocky guy, and he punches you, and he butt stomps you, whatever. Me and Willard killed him. And I got an achievement called Gold Experience Requiem.
Which is a stand from JoJo's.
Which is a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So you'd expect, like, you'd expect the achievement to have anything remotely related to that stand,
First, me and Bradley are like, yo, Gold Experience Requiem. And then we took like a 2-second pause, and we're like, wait, why? Why is it called that?
Because apparently, like, this company has made other games, and I think they've only made mobile games, but apparently all their games will have, like, stuff named after JoJo characters or stands or arts, but apparently they just never have anything to do with what they're named after. Because there's also an achievement called Stardust Crusader, and it's just like, oh, beat the Spiraling Abyss.
There's literally a mechanic in the game called Stardust. No, there's literally a mechanic in this game called Stardust. Why would you not make that?
Why would it not be related to Stardust? But Gold Experience Requiem was so fucking funny and stupid to me.
Bradley said that's gonna keep it out of the top 10 of the game of the year just for that.
Out of the top 10 for that.
So for me in this game, I think the game mechanics in this game is great and cool. I love the character switching. I just was never big on Breath of the Wild, and I'm not big on this game for the same kind of reason. I just don't feel as attached. And I think also the character designs really detach me more from the game, where I don't feel like so strongly connected to it because it's so generic. And it's whatever. But that's my big takeaway is that like I have a whole bunch of other stuff that I feel strongly connected to that I would rather play, and I feel like just give me a lot more intrinsic
I'm stuck in the middle because when I'm exploring and I've gone through a period where none of the annoying things have happened, I'm in bliss. I'm like, because Breath of the Wild is the best game ever until I unlocked all the towers and I had to go do the story. And then it's like, okay, this is a realistically brought down to earth game. In this game, it's like I'm getting the same emotions when I'm exploring the world, and this is a better world somehow, which is crazy. And like I feel like as much as I'm loving that, there's some times where a bad mechanic comes in, and it's like I should be playing fucking 13 Sentinels right now.
Yeah,
I'm so huffy about
there's
it.
There's some very arbitrary stuff that they don't let you do, like in co-op, right? Willer wants to buy a material from the souvenir shop.
Yeah.
But you just can't buy stuff from that particular shop in co-op.
And co-op, it's like you open a chest, like Bradley and Tyler will work their asses off for us to complete this puzzle, and then because I'm the host, I'm the only one who can reap the benefits. Even I feel bad about that.
That's my major complaint about Crystal Chronicles. That like it's not.
Well, not necessarily. That's different. You get at least something. Like all that.
The worst part about this game is in the entirety its co-op mechanics, which I'll say, if you want to play this game as like a single player experience, you like open world games to like just sit back and play, relax. Like this game, you could take it at your own progression. You could do these quests that are somewhat interesting. The combat, I think, is fun enough to support it as you level up your characters. That's fun. If you want to play this game for strictly co-op, don't.
First of all, and these guys are going to fight me on this, but I swear to God, to get to co-op, you need to get to adventure rank 16. These guys...
This takes 5 to 10 hours max?
Bullshit. It took me over 10 hours. I was keeping track. And it's not like... And I was doing the main quests. I don't know how else to, like... I don't know. It just...
So, Willer's had the worst experience out of everybody I know with this game.
I'm still not 16. I'm just.
You got a while to go, buddy. Trust me.
Yeah.
I don't trust you because, like, I think I joined your world and you were doing something, and I was like, oh, you're literally doing the wrong thing. Like, you need to be doing this.
Literally,
But that's
could
also
not,
a problem.
Shut up! I literally could not do the thing you told me to do because the story can only be done at adventure rank 18. So I was stuck in this hell from 16 to 17 where I had to explore and do side quests. All right, give me a break. Look,
So
it
the
took you
side quests
10
are fun
hours.
and rewarding.
It took you 10 hours. You just don't remember it because you were having a better time than me and you just flew by. All right.
All I
That's
know is
absolutely true.
These anime bitches
Wow.
are killing me with that booty.
The co-op is what's so like the only features you can do cooperatively in this game are the gacha system daily currency that you get. So in a lot of gacha games, you have this dailies that you're supposed to do, and it has this currency system that refreshes over time that allows you to do more of this activity. And those activities are tied into character and weapon ascensions, which like once you level your character up to 40, you have to ascend it so it can go from like 40 to 50 and then like
That's so
50 to
awesome.
60.
Classic stuff.
Yeah, and so on. So the only co-op things you could do in this game are those tied to this resin currency, which it's a gacha game, so it has to have this daily currency to make you wait, so you can't just grind it, but you also have to pay a lot if you want to like unlock a lot of characters or cool weapons or anything, and so it limits you in just this most arbitrary dumb way that it's like it's weird that a game of this quality has this arbitrary gacha system in it.
It kind of sucks because they stacked every gacha mechanic. You got timers, you got like timer, aka stamina, you got rolls, you got battle passes.
You get
got
convoluted ass currency where
events.
one currency goes into another currency, but it goes to another currency, but then that currency
You
can't
got
be
a
transferred
currency
to this
that makes me
currency.
think it exists because the game is a pyramid scheme and it's like legally like a layer of buffer or something. Like you got so many currencies, it almost feels suspicious.
It's crazy.
So here's my thing. They have a roadmap where they say we're going to be updating this game every 6 weeks. We're going to release new characters every 6 weeks. And in those 6 weeks, they're going to unlock new regions for the game.
Shit.
Like
I'm into that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm obligated to keep up because I want those goddamn new regions.
each region is like 5 or 6 different areas, and this is over 20 to 30 hours of gameplay just exploring alone. The puzzles are fun, the elemental reactions in the game are fun, and I saw someone comment today, no like harsh to this review or anything, it's his opinion, but he's like, oh, I get to this puzzle and oh, I need to just change to my fire character and now I can do the puzzle. And I was like, this guy has never played Donkey Kong 64 to know that if you had to go back to town to change your character is a terrible mechanic.
And
like,
dude, talking about continued support for the game, so you know they've been doing these surveys, which I think like other gacha games, doing the surveys get you like shitloads of rewards and stuff. So I've been doing them, but like they've been kind of talking about doing some really good stuff. Like people were asking for more co-op shit, so just yesterday they added back in like this new co-op event. And then like one thing they said people have been complaining about is it takes a while to open up, or it takes a while to eat food because you have to like open up this menu and tab over to your food or whatever and then find the one you want. So in the next patch they're adding a thing where just with the push of a button you can eat a food you have equipped to that button.
Cool.
Which is cool. I hope it works on PS4. They're at least
only
doing
know
it for
how to eat food after I've died, so that's helpful.
You gotta eat a revival food.
I know.
If you,
Like,
if,
the
if,
only
if
way I
you
know how
don't
to
like
eat
to
food.
read when you play games, I would say this game is not for you. I have discovered that a lot of my friends struggle with reading in general.
No, Tyler.
If English is
No.
not your first language,
Tyler, this
I
game
would
has
say-
a lot of UX issues.
I can't
Um,
believe
I
UX Tyler of all people is defending this game's UX.
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms
You
of telling you what to
have
do.
To
Yes.
use the analog stick to select things and not
That
the
does-
directional
that
button.
does
It's
suck.
maddening.
That is-
It's maddening.
It's maddening. It's
That
dumb.
does suck.
Cool. So, I play on PC like a normal human. All of
No.
the people in this podcast also have PCs. So this problem only exists on PlayStation because PlayStation is in its own isolated box. It has cross save and crossplay, but cross save does not
You're
exist
blaming
on
this
PlayStation.
on PlayStation and not the devs for putting in controller support
Yeah.
in the menus?
That's-
Have the waifus brainwashed you this hard?
I'm saying that's absolutely bad, but also you're playing it on a you have a different experience than I do. I am perfectly fine on PC.
Sit on my couch and get lost in this land.
I get my big ass TV to play my anime waifus on.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're having a terrible time with these menus. You can't find quests.
I woke up this morning. I could not find the quest.
All this is at the click of a button for me.
I think it's because they're literally not displaying it because I'm not AR20, which is kind of weird because they display the cooking girl thing.
That is a very simple. We are not giving you information until you need it. That is information overload. That is a UX rule.
No, gacha games will tell you, like, look at all this cool shit that you could be doing if you weren't such a little virgin bitch.
That's all. Okay.
And then you play the game and you do the thing.
Anyways,
man, that's getting heated.
I would at this point suggest any alternatives, but I cannot ethically provide any alternatives for a gacha game ever because of gambling reasons. So I'm not going to.
If you like gambling and want to spend hundreds of dollars on anime babes.
If you don't want to gamble, we'll get this game anyway because you get some cool characters just for playing.
We didn't mention free to play. You'll be fine. You'll do fine.
It's free to play wise, but But if
I think free to play gives you like 50 or 60 free rolls, and then each week, just from if you want to play the game, each month you can do about 30 or 40 free rolls.
Now,
like, easily.
It's a gacha game, so in the hardest content, you're either going to need to spend money or get lucky with pulls. And that's just, that is how gacha games get their money. And that's just, it is what it is.
The in-game content is isolated into something called the Abyss.
Yeah.
And it's like this endless tower. And that is like the only in-game content that's existed so far that you need to actually do the gacha system.
In other words, a lot of the game could be beaten without even having to touch the gacha, only post-game, like quote-unquote post-game stuff.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this game and you're having a really good time, you're going to be eating this meal for a while because the support's going to get you back in, the new regions, the new waifus and husbandos. Like, if you like this game, I am happy for you. And I do like this game, but I don't. Like, if you love this game, like, I feel like Bradley is going to have content for the next 5 years that he's going to be coming back for.
I guess this game is going to be available on PS5 because they announced that there's only 10 games that will not be transferable from PS4 to PS5.
Well, no, they'll likely just make a straight-up PS5 version. I mean, they have the resources.
Maybe, but I would like to keep my waifus.
Yeah.
Moving over.
Well, if you, like I said, you may or may not. Cross-save does exist, but not. Yeah. You can't cross-save from PlayStation to any other device.
Yeah, but I think more than likely it will just be like another game that you can transfer your save and your game to PlayStation-wise.
You can probably just put in your ID and they'll be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay. But yeah,
good game. I'm interested to see.
It's a good game.
I'm interested to see after Bradley comes out of like the Genshin hole, how he rates it at the end of the year. It's gonna be
as soon as I finish all the currently released content, they're gonna come out with more.
Yeah, that's the thing. There won't be an end.
December's gonna be a great time.
My life is over.
So
tune into the Roundabout cast around December time for heated debates. Because I feel like this year we'll get at each other's throat a lot more because I think we're a lot more
Last year was very tame. Last year we were very much like, oh hey, these are the games.
Monster Hunter, we all love it.
Yeah. This year.
Monster Hunter has a worse UX than this game.
All right, that's cap, as the kids say.
Yeah,
that's fucking. That's anyways. That's good on the podcast. Thank you for listening, y'all. Go play some Genshin, but control yourselves.
I wouldn't say he's wrong though. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't either.
Look, sure, I don't know how to navigate the start menu 300 hours in, but the rest of the menus I know, all right? It's just that start menu.
Dude, I should not have to relearn the quick access menu every time I want to go play Monster Hunter.
Okay, that's on you. The quick access menu is what you set it to, so you just need to remember it.
It's what you set
What do you mean?
That's your fault.
That's your own
I gotta remember what I set it to.
Yeah, it's your fault!
Also, why does the quick access menu have loadouts?
Because
it's ridiculous.
No, that's brilliant. Oh, whatever.
That's great.
See y'all next time, gang. Bye.